Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast that's going to change your life. You're tuning in to Awaken the Inner Alchemist. Today, we are going to be on principle number 2, master your emotions.
Absolutely, and welcome everyone. This is where real transformation begins. I'm Kai Solis, and today alongside Fred, we're going to break down exactly how mastering your emotions can truly change your life. So let's get ready to turn that pain into power and really dive in. Let's go.
When you think about mastering your emotions, because what are emotions? Emotions are the way I look at emotions are that it's just energy that is just stuck. It's energy in motion. And so when you're dealing with a certain trigger, like for example, you're angry, you're frustrated, that is just an emotion that is just stuck. However, if you use that emotion that you're feeling and put it into action, which would be like within movement. You're angry, you're frustrated, you go with, like, you do a power walk, you do a run, or if you scream into a pillow, you're releasing that tension. And so you're putting it in motion. But when you keep it stagnant, it's just basically, it's like water that's just sitting around, and it's going to get murky. It's going to get full of bacteria. That's why when you look at a pond, and if a pond is or a river's flowing, you know it's good, clean water. But if you have this like standing still pond that's nothing there, it's just going to be full of parasites, it's bacteria. It's just because there's no flowing energy. And that's the whole thing about emotions, is about flowing. And so what's your take on emotions?
I love that analogy, Fred. Absolutely. Emotions are like that energy in motion. And when you let them flow, you keep things fresh, you keep things clear. So I completely agree with that take. It's not about stifling your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about channeling them in a way that's healthy and letting that energy move through you. And I think that's a powerful way to look at it. So let's dive in further and help people understand how to do that.
Okay, when you think about, like I said, when I mentioned about emotions, and how I look at it as like changing your emotions is by using a theory that I put in my book, which is basically you are going to go ahead and go with the stop and act. And what I mean by stop, you're going to stop the spiral of these emotions that are going on. What you're doing is you're interrupting the pattern. And you can put a name to it, like you feel anger, you feel shame, you feel fear. You just name it, so you can put control over it. Because when you control it, it's all about that you can recognize it. You're taking like 3 deep breaths, and you're pausing in this chaos that you're in, so you can create this calmness that you can walk it off, move your body, and shake free from all the emotions that are happening right there at that particular time. There's studies that show that if you have some kind of emotional trigger, it takes about 90 seconds for you to finally clear those emotions out. And so if you're in a situation and like a heated argument, or you're with a loved one, and just walk away. Just let that dissipate, because that tension will soon just like flow off. It's kind of like water. Water when you're in a shower, it's just like you're just letting that water just drip right off of you, and sooner or later, you're going to get dry, and you're not going to know what caused those feelings that you just had. So the second part is that you think. Don't let this feeling hijack the meaning. Ask yourself, is the thought helpful? Is it even true? If not, rephrase it. You're not pushing away your emotions. You're reclaiming the power. And that when I mentioned about the 90-second rule, and that's when you just let things just flow and roll through, and you're going to see a big difference. And then the third step is you're going to act. You're going to write down what is causing this, what you're feeling, and you use it to fuel your body. You feel you feel like what is going on, what is causing this, as well as you can just take action on it. And like what I meant about like being a movement, that's action. Just being a movement. You're realizing like, hey, what is causing this? What is it making me? Why is this making me feel this way? And you can change it.
Absolutely, Fred. And I think that framework is so practical and powerful. You're basically giving people a roadmap. First you stop and you break the pattern. Then you give yourself that 90-second window to let the emotion flow through. And then you act in a way that moves your body and reforms your mind. It's about taking that ownership and not letting the emotion run the show. So I think that's a fantastic practical tool, and I love that you laid it out that way.
Yeah, I want to hear about your intake on like what you would inspire other people. Like, and think of it as like how Tony Robbins would do things and how he would coach people. So how would you coach a person to master their emotions? Become like the inner Bruce Lee, because that's why I kind of look at it as like in life, that if we have this like inner Bruce Lee to control our emotions, and as well as being able to control our thoughts, as well as being able to take action, like being able to break boards, break things with our fists, but not being violent, but looking at these emotions are like invisible demons or invisible enemy that you're just going to go ahead and destroy those thoughts.
Absolutely. I love that inner Bruce Lee analogy. And if we were channeling a bit of that Tony Robbins approach, here's how I put it. First, it's all about state. Tony always talks about how emotion is created by motion. So if you want to shift your emotions, you shift your body first. You stand up, you move, you change your breathing, you change your posture. That's step one, all your state. Second, it's about the meaning you give things. Like you said, when you name it, when you reframe it, you're taking that invisible enemy and you turn it into something you can handle. It's like you're the master of your own dojo. We're taking that thought and saying, no, I get to decide how I respond to it. And finally, it's about action. Just like you said, that movement is that action, whether it's writing it down, whether it's doing a power walk, whether it's literally doing something physical to break through that emotional block. That's how you take control. So think of yourself as that inner Bruce Lee. You're mastering your own state, you're mastering your mind, and you're mastering your movement. And how you master your emotions.
All right. The one thing I learned about, like, when you are learning to change your state, because everything starts with a state, and when you change your state, putting yourself in a good state, because if you are droopy, you have your head down, you have your back arched, and leaning forward, you're not in that positive, I guess you say that positive frame. Like, think of like you're Superman and you put your hands against your hips. What that's also doing is it's also helping out with, it increases your testosterone, and it also makes you feel like you're very powerful, that you can accomplish anything in life that's what's been thrown in front of you. But what that does is it makes you feel powerful, and as well as it's changing your state, that you can accomplish anything. And rather than being in a bad state, like for example, somebody's yelling at you or you feel discouraged, like walk away and then end up putting yourself in the power stance, the Superman power stance, and you're going to start seeing your state change. And then also too, not dwelling on the what has happened, because we get into that little dwelling mode, and we ruminate at that. The whole thing about changing your state is you're making a change in your life and saying, I don't want this. Enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of it. I want to make a change. You start with you changing your state.
Exactly, Fred. You nailed it right there. It's all about shifting that state first, because your physiology and your posture literally signal to your brain that you're in control. And like you said, that Superman pose, that power stance is not just a gimmick. It actually changes the chemistry in your body, and it changes your mindset. It makes you feel like you can take on whatever challenge is coming at you. So I love that you brought that up, and I think for anyone listening, that's the key takeaway. You want to change your emotions? Start by changing your state. Stand tall, own it, and then move forward from there.
Yeah, and then when you own it, that's when you, like I said before, you put a name to it. You own it, and when you have a name to something, then you can see it, feel it. You can understand, you can relate with it, and you'll be like, hey, it's like, if you want to call that anger and that frustration, like whatever name, it's like, hey, Dolores, you're not going to get the best of me. I'm going to prove you wrong, because it's your life, and nobody's going to be there to help you resolve it. You got to resolve your own issues. You got to resolve your own problems. And also, too, is that when you look at life from that you are in control, you also put out a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. Like, instead of living your life, oh, poor me, I can't do anything, and this person did this to me, that person did that to me. Nobody does anything to you. You allow it.
Absolutely, Fred. That's spot on. When you name it, when you own it, you're basically reclaiming your power. And I love that you said that. You could give it any name you want. Call it Dolores, call it Bob, whatever it is. You're saying, hey, you're not going to get the best of me. I'm in control. And that is a growth mindset. That's you stepping out of that victim role and into the role of the alchemist, the person who's going to transform whatever life throws at them. And I think that's a huge takeaway. You're not waiting for someone else to fix it for you. You're saying, I'm in control and I'm going to move forward. So that's a powerful message.
Now, let's just go with, people want the hacks. I've noticed this. They want the hacks. They want the simple approach. So let's go ahead and from your perspective, what would a person do to own their emotions, to master their emotions? What would you tell a person on how to do that in less than 5 steps? Besides what I mentioned about the stop and act approach, let's come from your perspective, not from my perspective, because everything in life is about different perspectives.
Absolutely. Let's break it down into a quick and simple set of steps. Like a little hack for mastering your emotions. So if we were to sum it up in under 5 steps, here's what I'd say. First, number 1, pause and breathe. Before you do anything else, just take a moment to breathe deeply. Give yourself a few deep breaths to break that automatic emotional loop. Second, name it. Like we talked about, give that emotion a name, identify it. Once you name it, you take away some of its power because now you can see it for what it is. Third, change your physiology. That's your power stance. Shift your body. Change your posture. Even just rolling your shoulders back and lifting your chin can shift how you feel almost instantly. Fourth, reframe the thought. Ask yourself, is this thought helpful? Is it even true? If it's not, choose a more empowering thought that you taking control of the meaning you give it. And fifth, take one small action. Do something, whether it's a quick walk, a stretch, or just shifting your focus to a new task. That action reinforces the new state you just created. So there you go. Breathe, name it, change your body from it, and take action. That's a quick 5-step hack to mastering your emotions.
Oh, that's awesome. The other thing I wanted to do is I want to close this out, but I want to tell people about where you can pick up my book, Awaken the Inner Alchemist. And I also want to state, too, that the book can be found at Amazon. It could be found on Barnes & Noble. It could be found in Target. It could be found in Walmart. But just as of yesterday, I released the audio version. So now you can go ahead and take this on the go. It's a 2-hour listen. So whenever you're doing like a quick little trip, a drive, or whatever you're doing, you're at work, you want to listen to something, you're multitasking, because people love listening to podcasts. People love listening to this book because it's packed with knowledge. It's packed with thought-provoking questions, and it's giving you some like a self-help guide. And think of it as this book is going to coach you to awaken your inner alchemist. And when I wrote this book, I wrote it to where it's like wisdom and guidance that I can give to if I had children, that I could bestow upon this wisdom and guidance to them. But since I don't, I'm passing this knowledge and wisdom to the world. And as well as also too, that every day or every week, I'm putting out a new episode, and we're going to go with the 33 principles and break things down with the conversation, with my co-host, so we can go ahead and give you a little bit more information that's behind the book, besides the book, and something that can help transform your life, because the whole idea is transforming your pain into power and live with purpose. I'm Fred Martinez, and you've been listening to Awaken the Inner Alchemist.
And I'm Kai Solis, and it's been an absolute pleasure diving into these principles with you all. Remember, you can grab Fred's book, Awaken the Inner Alchemist, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, and now in audiobook form as well, so you can listen on the go. And like Fred said, this is all about giving you the tools to transform your life, turn that pain into power, and live with purpose. So thanks for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next episode as we continue to break down these 33 principles and help you awaken your inner alchemist.